Tracy about it. She should be able to.
Good afternoon. I would like to welcome everyone today to the State Board of Education meeting for Tuesday, September 12th, 2023. I would like to ask Dr. O'Shields if he would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
If everyone would, please stand at this time. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
As we begin, I do ask all board members and speakers to please speak directly into your microphone so that we can accurately transcribe the minutes following today's meeting. With that being said, we will move on to approval of the minutes. You have before you the minutes from the August 8th, 2023 meeting. There is one small correction we'd like to note at the end of the minutes for that day. It's in section 11 under other business. But there was not a need that day for a separate public hearing following the regular board meeting in August. So that will be corrected. Is there any objection to approving the minutes as presented to you for August 8th with the correction which I just noted? Hearing no objections, those minutes are approved by unanimous consent. You also have before you the agenda for today's meeting. Is there any objection to approving the agenda as presented to you for today's meeting? Hearing no objections, the agenda is approved by unanimous consent. We do welcome everyone today, and we welcome those in attendance and those that may be listening in or watching, and we thank you for your interest in the work of the State Board of Education. I would like to recognize the following visitors, though. We have two people here today with us from Teach Right USA, Tracy Williams and Deidre McCulley. We're glad you could be here today. We also have Stephen Corstini with us, and then we also have from the EOC, Dana Yao. We're so glad to see you here today, Dana. Is there any news media present who did not sign in? If so, please announce your name and company. Well, we do welcome each of you today. I know for the chair report, I don't have really anything new to share other than it is so wonderful having a full house up here. Miss Lee is out sick. She couldn't be with us today, but it's been quite a while since we've had every chair filled, even though hers is just filled in spirit right now. But she is here with us, I know, and wants me to follow up as soon as the meeting's over. It really bothers her to miss any of our meetings. But it is great to have everyone here, and thank you to everyone that's in attendance and listening in as well. But I will go ahead and turn it over to Superintendent Weaver.
Thank you. Just three quick items today. So first of all, I wanted to just update and celebrate the progress that we made on our SC Ready scores this year. So those were just released a couple of weeks ago, and we have made a 7-point gain in our ELA scores and a 2-point gain in our math scores. So that takes us to 54% of students in South Carolina who are at or above grade level on ELA, and 41% who are at or above grade level in math. Now, obviously, we have a lot of work to do to get to where we need to go, and that goes back to some of the strategic planning that we talked about at the last board meeting. But I did want to just say a heartfelt thank you to all of our educators for the hard work that goes into those gains and the investment that they're making in their students, and we're excited to continue to see those investments pay off over time in the continued growth of our students. So that was my first point of update. The second thing is that I wanted to mention a memo that has gone out to our superintendents today, highlighting two important civics contests for our students. So as many of you may be aware, August 28th was actually the 60th anniversary of one of the most iconic speeches of the 20th century, the I Have a Dream speech that Dr. Martin Luther King gave in Washington. And so we have launched the I Have a Dream student writing writing contest. The details of this are available on the State Department website, but we have invited students across the state to stand in Dr. King's symbolic shadow and write a 500 to 600 word speech highlighting their own American dream for our shared future. The second civics endeavor that we are announcing today is called the My Impact Challenge Civic Engagement Contest, and this is sponsored by an organization called the Bill of Rights Institute. So we actually are coming up on Constitution Day on September the 17th, and so what better way to celebrate this than making our students aware of this essay contest? And there's actually a significant monetary award with this one, a $10,000 grand prize, and a total of $40,000 in prizes overall. So this is a big deal. We want to make sure that our students are aware of this national opportunity for South Carolina to shine. I can't think of anything more important to our community than a shared understanding of our founding DNA. And so we're going to do everything we can to make sure that our students are aware of these opportunities and fully engaged in them. So that memo went out to superintendents, and we'll also be sharing that with our social studies teachers as well. The final thing that I wanted to mention is something that I haven't told Miss Rita I was going to be talking about today, but a few months ago, she pulled me aside and started bending my ear about this wonderful place called the Middle Tiger Community Center up in Lyman, South Carolina. And so I was able to go and visit this community center several months ago. And I just want to tell you how impressive it is and what a model I think it is for the work that we need to do statewide to support the real needs that our students have that underlie their academic needs. And so Middle Tiger is an incredible collaboration of the faith community, the business community, and the local school district. So it's in Spartanburg 5. Spartanburg 5 has actually donated one of their old empty elementary schools to house this. And it's a community center that provides just an amazing number of wraparound services that support not only students, but their families. And I think, looking out on the needs that I hear over and over again from our teachers, that they feel like in many ways they're asked to be everything to everybody and to do everything. What an incredible way for a community to come together to allow our teachers to do what they signed up to do, which is teach, and have the community engaged in doing what the community needs to do, which is support the needs of those families and those children. So we have a very brief video, just a 2-minute video that I wanted to roll out. Miss Rita, I knew you would be happy.
I don't know where these children would be today if it wasn't for this center right here.
When you are helping this community, you are helping our kids.
Anybody in need can come to Middle Tiger and they can find help.
What started in a spirit of collaboration has become the model of collaborations for community and schools, and that is really just the genius of the giants that went ahead of us. In the beginning of Middle Tiger in 1998, Mary Black Foundation and Spartanburg School District 5 decided to take a chance on each other and invest in a family resource center. Around that time, Mary Black Hospital was sold and Mary Black Foundation began, but they wanted to invest in communities more than just pills and procedures and more than just current help. They wanted to go further into community help and preventative help. And so at that time, the former Lyman Elementary School had closed. It was an empty building sitting vacant in the middle of the big downtown of Lyman, and this community did not want to see it go to waste.
Our partnership with Middle Tiger Community Center is just outstanding. To have the opportunity to have right here in our backyard a center that's not just helping and feeding and supporting the needs of our students, but our entire community. There's so many times when an individual or a mother or a grandmother or someone's put in a circumstance they've never been in before, and they don't always know where to go for help.
I didn't know what to do because, coming in at 75 years old or 74 years old with 3 little kids, I didn't know what to do. And so I went over to the school for a parent-teacher conference And the teacher asked me if I had ever been over here, and I said no. So she gave me the number, I called, and Marissa said, come on over, we'll open you with loving arms, and they have.
The reason why we're 25 years old, healthy, thriving, and pioneering the way is because no one person is taking the credit for the success at Middle Tiger Community Center. There are 100 people behind the scenes that have made even today just happen, and everybody is for what is best for the least of these in our communities. And if we don't turn around and do what's best for the least of these, none of the rest of us will be healthy either.
Today, I'm sitting here because of this place.
It's a win-win for the community center. It's definitely a win for our district, and as a result, it's a win for the entire community.
So just an incredible story of what is possible when you bring stakeholders to the table and share a vision. And so I'd love to see one of these, at least one of these in every district in our state. And so, you know, that will take a lot of work, a lot of collaboration, a lot of resources. But I think that Middle Tiger has been a pioneer now for 25 years, and it's a joy to be able to celebrate what they're doing. So thank you for inviting me to see that, Ms. Rita. And Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you. That was wonderful and such an inspiration for everyone when you talk about that community school connection. Do any of our board members have any questions for Superintendent Weaver? Okay, thank you so much. I do believe that Mr. Tyler is out sick today, so Mr. Gunter, are you going to be our parliamentarian comments?
Actually gets the honor.
Oh, Ms. Drayton, I'm so sorry. I was told Mr. Gunter's. Hey, we welcome you both to share anything you would like to share at this time. Well, Ms. Drayton, what would you like to share with us today?
Just glad that everyone is here today in attendance, and we're hoping for a great meeting as always.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We do not have anyone signed up for public comment today, so we will move on to our state board items and our committee reports. It was a little bit unusual today because we did not have a policy and legislative meeting, but we also did not have an educator professions committee meeting, so those did not meet. Therefore, we will move into our report from the Standards Learning and Accountability Committee. Ms. Frierson?
Good afternoon, Madam Chairlady, Dr. Stapleton. This morning, the Standards Learning and Accountability Committee approved one action item that was added to the consent agenda. And that item was Instructional Materials Advisory Committee. I'm sorry, was the first reading of the mathematics standards for 2003 College and Career Ready. Yes.
Thank you. And that was a wonderful presentation, but just so our board members know, we will be doing that again in a few minutes so that everyone will be able to participate in that. Ms. Frierson's report does serve as a motion from her committee for that report. It does not require a second. Is there any discussion? Yes, Ms. Frierson.
Madam Chair, since there are two Friersons, for the record, it's probably best that you give first and last names.
We can do that. Well, can I say Ms. D. Frierson and Ms. B. Frierson? Is that okay? Ms. Beverly Frierson. You want Beverly?
Ms. D, I'm Beverly.
Hey, there you go. We will say Ms. Beverly Frierson. And then we'll say Ms. Delaney Frierson. So thank you for that report, Ms. Delaney Frierson. It is unusual to have two Friersons now, so it's great. That does serve, though, as that motion and doesn't require a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, with no questions, all in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. I would now like to recognize Mr. Walters to present our Educator Licensure Committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And first, forgive me, I had to step out. We had a little emergency at the home base to deal with there, but we got that handled.
I'm glad it was handled.
We had quite a busy morning in our committee. We had a total of 23 cases that came before us today. One was a denial of an initial application for certification. We had 19 unprofessional conduct for breach of contract and 3 for unprofessional conduct, for a total of 23 cases that came before us today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Walters. The full board licensure committee did meet today, so we were able to already ratify the cases that he referred to. In our full board educator licensure meeting, we did have 5 cases for consideration today. That resulted in 2 certification denials, 1 suspension for breach of contract, and 2 permanent revocations. That was a total of 28 cases between the 2 groups that were resolved today. And as always, I echo what Mr. Walters always says and what we say each meeting, but we are so grateful to our Office of General Counsel and all the work you put into that and how much you were able to provide us so that we can prepare ahead of time for those cases. So thank you so much for that. We appreciate it. The consent agenda has been discussed and action items moved to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Kriminger. She made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Allison. All in favor of the motion? Oh, well, any discussion? All in favor of approving the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. At this time, we will have a presentation regarding the first reading of the 2023 South Carolina College and Career Ready Math Standards. As I shared earlier, those were approved during the Standards Learning and Accountability Committee earlier this morning. But we have Ms. Sandra Ammons, I believe, that will come before us again today. She is the team lead for liberal arts for the Office of Assessment and Standards in the Division of College and Career Readiness. So if you don't mind coming forward to present to us. Thank you, Ms. Ammons.
To clarify, would you like for me to repeat the entire presentation or just summarize?
I think that if you do a summary, because everyone had the information, our board members, prior to today's meeting, but if there's any questions you have as you listen that don't get answered, of course, you'll have that opportunity at the end. So if you could just summarize it, that would be perfect.
So it is my pleasure to highlight a few points and to provide an overview of the revised math standards as was presented to the Standards Learning and Accountability Subcommittee this morning. The development of the revised math standards has been quite an extensive process. The process began in 2021 with independent reviews of the 2015 math standards by stakeholder committees. The writing team was representative of the demographic characteristics of South Carolina, and the Office of Assessment and Standards is committed to including representation from all districts in some capacity during the review, revision, and implementation processes. Classroom teachers, those who are in the trenches using these standards on a daily basis, make up the majority of the writing team. Changes to the revised math standards were made based on recommendations from the EOC review of the 2015 standards, the Office of Assessment and Standards review of the 2015 standards, and current research from the writing team and Education Associates. In order to have a more concise document, learning was prioritized for concepts that are developmentally appropriate and necessary to build foundation for future learning. This prioritization resulted in a reduction of indicators across the board. The 2023 document also contains advanced level standards for 7th and 8th grade students to ensure that students do not skip vital content. Standards compacted into the advanced courses for middle school are aligned with similar content, allowing students deeper learning of the concepts rather than adding additional learning. Geometry with statistics is recommended to come before Algebra 1 as a prerequisite. Research shows that students progress through stages in learning: concrete, representational, and finally abstract. The current geometry course is an application of the abstract algebra concepts previously learned. In the 2023 standards document, geometry with statistics has been redesigned. It is the concrete and representational learning of concepts through lines, shapes, and figures before the abstract learning of equations and procedures in Algebra 1. After completing Algebra 1, students will have a choice in pathways. They may follow the traditional college readiness pathway to Algebra 2 with probability, and then have fourth course options. Or students may follow the career military readiness pathway and take 2 newly developed courses designed for real-world application of mathematics. Students may move from one pathway to another as needed. All of the feedback from public review and focus groups was made available to the writing committee, regardless of whether it was actionable, such as I like the indicator insights, or something that really required committee consideration and decisions, such as gaps in the learning. All feedback, edits, and revisions have been archived. On behalf of the Office of Assessment and Standards, I request approval of the first reading of the 2023 South Carolina College and Career Ready Mathematics Standards.
Thank you so much. You have information before you that you had prior to the meeting, and then also hearing from Ms. Ammons regarding the first reading. Do any of our board members have any questions?
I just want to say a quick
Yes.
thank you so much to you and your team for the depth and the breadth of the work that went into this writing process. And I am so thankful that you all heard the voice of those teachers who have asked us for a long time for prioritized standards. So the overall reduction in standards, I think, is a big win for our math teachers across the state. And I just wanted to highlight that and say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for pointing that out, and that did come up in the committee meeting this morning too, just how wonderful it was and how obvious it is, just how receptive the whole team was to what they've heard from districts and from teachers and educators across the state. And so we're so grateful for that, and we know there is so much work that goes into the development of standards, and just so many things that came up this morning about the positive things seeing in these. One included, just to throw back in there and mention too, but was having the different standards now for the advanced 7th and 8th grade middle school, so that we have something concrete, something structured there in place for districts to utilize with the standards when having those students do those courses earlier. So thank you so much, and I know I am speaking on behalf of the board and all of the ones that we're talking about this morning as well, but we appreciate your team's work on all of that. Thank you. So with no questions, we will entertain a motion to approve the first reading of the math standards, the 2023 South Carolina College and Career Ready Mathematics Standards. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Shore. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, I would like to ask Mr. Stephen Strother from the Office of Finance to please come forward and present the review of the State Board of Education's fiscal year 23-24 budget. And I believe everyone has a handout in front of them too, if you can refer to.
Good afternoon, Chair Stapleton, members of the board, Superintendent Weaver. Yes, everyone's favorite topic, budget, of course, as always. This is the FY24 budget as it stands through August the 31st, 2023. So I'd like to point out that's early on in this process. So what I would like to propose is, I'm not sure if this has been done in the past, but possibly providing Tracy with monthly reports for you all's review if you would like to do that in that way, because I believe this is the only time I present this budget. So that way it'll keep you informed, and I can give you kind of an overview today and give you a good idea of how to read the budget. But the first handout is a single page handout. And so it gives you the overview of the budget. And so I'd like to call your attention to about the third column over, or the fourth column over, which is called the current budget. And your budget is divided in really to two sections. One is considered the operations budget, and then the second portion is called, basically considered the educator cases budget, close to the end of that page. And that's the line item that you'll see with about $32,000 worth of budget there. The operation budget consists of $171,000 at this point. And the way you read this column is the first line there, $171,000, is the budget, and each item that you see under that budget line item is what consists of that $171,000, which would be classified positions, other personnel services, per diem, and then you'll see another line item called other operating. And other operating, that $21,247 consists of legal services, non-IT other professional services, in-state lodging, in-state auto mileage, in-state miscellaneous trip expenditures. And then finally, you'll see a line item called employer contributions for $22,869. And underneath that line item, you'll see retiree, retirement insurance, Social Security, insurance, health, et cetera. So that's the way you read that budget. You got a broad heading and some line items that fall underneath that. So since this budget is through August the 31st, we're covering 2 months here. We're covering July and we're covering August. So let's focus on the year-to-date actual expenditures, which is year-to-date, not month-to-date, because that's going to give you your year-to-date expenditures. On the top line there is your total expenditures for the year, and that's $18,729.58. Underneath that breaks down what those expenditures consist of in each category. You have $8,800 in classified positions. I believe that consists of an admin coordinator. That admin coordinator earns about $53,000 a year. You actually have a vacancy there, which will make up the rest of the $125,000. That vacancy is a program manager 2. So that I believe that is unfilled at this point in time. So that portion of that budget will be filled with about $53,000. And you can kind of do the calculation there. 8,800 divided by 2 months multiplied by 12 will give you about $53,000. Your per diem, I'd like to point out that's been about $800 for the year. I look back at last year's budget and we increased that line item to about $11,450. So we'll keep an eye on that and we'll do the same thing this year. We'll pull down some more budget this year to make sure that you have plenty of budget there. And followed on down, you'll see the expenditures and you'll see your retiree insurance, et cetera, that go along with the personnel expenditures. And then the column after that is called commitment and other transactions. There's really only 2 purchase orders, and those are the amounts that are left on the purchase orders, $4,200 and $3,200. And I believe that is a court report. The first item there is a court reporting, and the second item is a Monica Boland. So those are the amounts left on those purchase orders. And keep in mind that they do come out of your available balance. So the way to read that bottom line there is you have not spent anything in your educator cases. You have $32,000 budgeted there. There's nothing been expended out of those line items. So out of a $203,000 budget, you spent $18,000. You've got $7,400 encumbered, which leaves you a remaining balance for the remainder of the year of $176,000. So that's the overview. If you kind of take the second handout, which is about 3 pages long, you'll notice that that is the detail. So just a real quick overview of that detail. You can tie each of these back to your year-to-date expenditures. For example, on the first page there, your classified positions come out to be $8,800, and you can see the posting date. You had a 7/1 payroll, a 7/14 payroll, an 8/1 payroll, and an 8/16 payroll, et cetera. You can see the line of detail per your per diem, how much per diem happened each time, and et cetera. So you can see the detail that ties back to each of these year-to-date expenditures on your budget. I don't think, the only thing that does not show on this report is your encumbrances. And, we could feasibly run you an encumbrance report. But that's the way that report reads. So it's essentially two reports, an overview and a detail report. And that's the way your budget looks currently, but keep in mind that we are only 2 months into your year. So any questions regarding your budget?
Do any of our members have any questions for Mr. Strother? Don't hear any then. Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here today and presenting that to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to ask Deputy Superintendent Matthew Ferguson from the Division of College and Career Readiness to come forward, and I believe he is going to share with us a literacy update and then also an update regarding Allendale County School District and Williamsburg County School District.
Thank you so much. So I wanted to start with talking about some of the data that we are seeing from SC Ready. Superintendent Weaver already mentioned we saw pretty significant growth in ELA this year. 54% of students are now meeting or exceeding standard, which is about a 7% increase year over year. There are a lot of factors that go into those scores. I think it has a lot to do with letters. I think it has a lot to do with the COVID monies that have gone to support interventions. It's gone into really focused on making up learning. So I think that is certainly a point to celebrate. Speaking of letters and the literacy rollout of that statewide, we have 5,000 teachers who are currently signed up in 67 districts across South Carolina. And so those cohorts are beginning in the next several weeks to months. We are also actively recruiting and seeking the next tranche to sign up for our January start. So we're looking forward to that as well. We're hoping to be able to add 5,000 more teachers in January and then finish out the group next fall. And so there are about 20,000 teachers in that K-3 space that will need training in letters. And it's been a really positive response so far. And then also kind of related to that is we are deep in the trenches of looking at the instructional materials that are aligned to the new ELA standards. And so in the next few months, you will be receiving the results of that process, and there will be recommendations made around what the committees have found to be aligned with the new ELA standards, and will set the districts up for their processes to begin in the spring of next year. So that concludes my literacy update. Are there any questions around literacy?
Any questions?
All right, moving on to
All wonderful
Allendale.
news.
Yes, ma'am, all good news. We still have a lot of work to do on math, so we're
Right.
gonna work on that. We found something that is working in letters and the evidence-based practices, and so this is not the math update, but 41% of our students are meeting standard in math, and so that means 6 and 10 are not. So we're going to have to look for aligned practices with what works for children, and I think the standards that you just approved for first reading will be a step in the right direction there. But moving on to Allendale, because I digressed a little bit. We have a superintendent in place in Allendale now. Her official first day was yesterday. So Dr. Valerie Cave is an experienced superintendent. She is taking the reins in Allendale and is off to a great start. We are looking at plans and aligning instructional materials and instructional plans to best practices, and that's been she actually started last week. So her official first day was yesterday, but she has been in the district really working to focus on student achievement this year. So I think that's going to be a positive change there. Superintendent Weaver was anticipating to go down to Allendale and introduce her, and a hurricane unfortunately delayed our plans on that. So we are looking forward to going to Allendale at the end of this month to having a community event and introduce Dr. Cave and meet with the community around the new superintendent. And then with Williamsburg, it's been a successful start to the school year. They are working to implement new ELA curriculum that is aligned with the science of reading. They are also, like Allendale, seeing improvements in their ELA scores. And I will be traveling to Williamsburg on Friday of this week to work through some of the individual school plans that are aligned to improving student achievement so that we can look at advancing that and return to local control once we have things stabilized and student achievement where it needs to be.
Wonderful.
Any questions? I just said a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Ferguson. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
Are those the only two school districts that are underperforming?
They are the only current school districts that are under state takeover, yes, sir.
I guess that's different from the question I asked, right?
It is, so there are other districts that are low performing or have schools with results that are not where they need to be, but there is a specific definition in the law for what qualifies for state takeover, and those two districts are the ones that are currently a part of what we are building as the HOPE network to support and align resources so that we get student achievement.
Can I ask?
Yes, Ms. Allison.
Interested to know, as all the evaluations have been going on and everything, how plentiful is early childhood in both of those areas?
So there are 4K CERDEP classrooms in both of the school districts. There's also a First Steps presence in both, and I believe a Head Start presence in both. I know there's a Head Start presence in Williamsburg. And we've been working to fill the seats that are there because we often have seats in districts that go unfilled, and we also know that looking at our KRA data that there are eligible students in the community who are not accessing those seats. So we've been working to improve that outreach so that we're filling all the available seats in our 4K classrooms.
Right, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you
thank
so
you.
much. Goodness, I feel like I got to the end too quick, but I know that's from all the work that's already happened today. So to our board members, we thank you for everything you've done already today leading up to our full board meeting. I do ask, please make sure you give Tracy your travel forms if you have not at this time. And regarding other business, I believe we are good. And so I will welcome a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Oh, I heard Dr. O'Shields first. So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Walters, thank you for that second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we stand adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.